3 years into my exile, as the imperial court's #1 fugitive, I was cornered in a rundown temple and forced into marriage by the newly appointed magistrate of Taikang. He tossed a gold ingot into the donation box as a down payment and demanded to marry a high-born beauty with no parents or siblings. This wasn't a marriage proposal. He had clearly turned my wanted poster into a wedding advertisement, word for word.
If I don't find someone within a month, I'll seal off this temple for practicing sorcery.
And take the temple keeper as my lady wife. I was about to pull out a dagger to fight him, but caught a glimpse of an old scar on his wrist, and froze in my tracks. How did that pathetic beggar I saved 5 years ago transform into a magistrate? Is he here to repay my kindness or send me to the executioner? Seeing his smiling eyes, he didn't seem malicious, so I calmed down, stood up, and handed him a red string from the altar as usual. Rest assured, young master, a handsome gentleman like you will surely find a wonderful wife. Quote.
But my family is poor. I just want to find an educated young lady.
So I can save on the dowry.
My lips twitched. Finding a wife was one thing, but demanding she be educated? The giant gold ingot he just shoved into the box could feed the whole village for half a year. How is he poor? I took a step forward, tied the red string around his wrist, and asked with a practiced smile, "May I ask how old you are, young master? Where do you live, and what do you do for a living?" Xu Qingzhou paused, then replied, "A temple girl like you is actually interrogating an official?" An official. I pretended to tidy the incense burner, but a glance outside made my fingers turn cold. Several guards with swords were standing under the big tree. Could they be here for me? I hid my trembling hands in my sleeves and steadied my voice. "My lord, you are quite the joker. Since you're here to seek a connection, the deity must know your situation." Quote. Otherwise, how can we ensure the lady you fancy will be satisfied with you? Xu Qingzhou stared at me, his eyes gleaming, before suddenly laughing.
What the lady says makes sense. My apologies. I am Xu Qingzhou, the magistrate of Taikang. I just assumed office today and will reside at the county office hereafter. Quote.
On his first day as magistrate, he wore plain clothes to this broken temple to toss gold around. Just as I went to bow, he suddenly reached out to steady my arm. He pulled back the moment he touched my clothes, but I was frozen stiff. He withdrew his hand with a gentle smile. "I was just visiting quietly. There's no need for formalities, temple keeper." Quote. "May I ask how I should address you?" Suppressing my panic, I kept my head low, the same as everyone else, of course. "Just call me Ah Hong." Ah Hong. I gave an inscrutable smile.
Then tell me, Miss Ah Hong, how long until my wish comes true?
I let out a soft scoff, putting on a stern face. Matters of fate cannot be rushed, especially with such demanding conditions. It depends on what the goddess decides. Quote. Xu Qingzhou looked up at the clay statue, then pulled out a piece of silver and shoved it into my hand.
Then I'll leave it to you, Miss Ah Hong, to put in a good word for me. I had to play along.
I weighed it in my hand. It was over 10 taels, enough for 3 months of Grandma Lu's medicine. Besides, the temple's reputation for granting wishes couldn't be ruined, so I had no choice but to nod. "Rest assured, sir, in 2 months' time, it'll be the 7th. Just 1 month. If there's no result in 1 month, I will shut this temple down for swindling people with superstitions." My scalp tingled instantly. The Xinu temple might be small, but it has been my home for 3 years. When I fled here as a refugee, Grandma Lu took me in, provided for me, and since I could read, she let me manage the temple. As for why this place is effective, others don't know, but I know full well. Which young man is abusive, which mother-in-law is cruel. The village aunties have already gathered all the intel. So-called fate is just me helping girls avoid fire pits and matching them with decent partners. If this secret were exposed, the incense business would plummet. Everyone relying on it would lose their livelihood, and I, being an outsider, would be. "What's wrong?" "Nothing," Xu Qingzhou asked coldly.
Or are you lot just running a scam?
Absolutely not. I tucked the silver into my sleeve, gritting my teeth as I apologized. "Rest assured, sir, I will certainly kowtow with sincerity every single day, praying for the goddess to bless you with a good match soon." As soon as his figure vanished outside the temple gate, I wiped the smile off my face. If my father were still here, a low-ranking official like him wouldn't even be allowed through our front door. Now he dares to threaten my temple? Just wait until I find you a short-tempered tigress to keep you in line. But I flipped through my records and didn't have a single candidate, let alone a tigress. I had to go to the backyard to ask Grandma Lu for help. She was turning dried gourds with long chopsticks while patting her hunched back. I held up the silver, my eyes crinkling with a smile. "A generous visitor just came by. Your medicine money for the next few months is settled." Quote. Grandma Lu took one look at me and saw right through my forced smile, setting down her chopsticks. "Tell me the truth. Did this man set some ridiculous conditions? I had no choice but to support him and repeat all of Shu Qingchu's requirements. He wants someone from a respectable family, and someone with no parents or siblings. Grandma Lu frowned. What's his character like? Is he trying to trick someone? He looks decent, like a scholar. Besides, he said he's the newly appointed magistrate of Taikang. A magistrate? Grandma Lu paused for a moment. Did he mention what age he's looking for? I shook my head. Then go check the old cabinet from 3 years ago. She unhooked the old key from her waist and handed it to me. If I recall correctly, there's a suitable girl over in Liujia Port. I took the key, hurried to the archives, and pulled out the matchmaking registry from 3 years ago. I found the entry, Lu Qinglin from the Lu shipyard, 20 years old 3 years ago, looking for a match. That makes her 23 now, the same age as me. That's the one. I didn't notice Grandma Lu standing at the door. The Lu family has been building ships for generations. A few years back, they got the commission to build large ships for the emperor, so they're well respected in Taikang. It's a pity though, that girl has a hard life. Her mother died giving birth to her, and her father went out to sea 3 years ago to oversee a ship and never returned after a shipwreck. She is the last of her family, and her mourning period fits the magistrate's requirements perfectly. 3 years ago, again, my finger rested on the old book, and my heart sank. How could the timing be such a coincidence? I suppressed my doubts and closed the book. Fine, I'll head over to the Lu family after we close up. Grandma grabbed my arm. You're a young woman. Take Mrs. Lin with you. Her husband used to be a manager at the Lu shipyard, and he happened to go out to sea with Qinglin's father 3 years ago. I felt a jolt of alarm but didn't ask further. By dusk, with the sky ablaze in red, I locked the shop and went to Wanggong village to find Mrs. Lin. 3 years ago, I fled here from the capital, hoping to find a ship at Liujia port to leave, but a once-in-a-century typhoon dashed those plans. If not for Grandma Lu telling the pursuing guards that I had left by sea before the storm, I never would have had these 3 years of peace. It wasn't until Shu Qingzhou showed up that I realized these 3 years of stability felt stolen. I knocked on Mrs. Lin's door. The house smelled of food. Oh, it's Ah Hong. You've come at just the right time. Seeing my anxious face, she didn't ask questions and simply handed me a full bowl of rice. Whatever the crisis is, we can talk after you finish your meal. My eyes welled up. 3 years ago, when I was soaked through and shivering with hunger, someone had also shoved a bowl of rice into my hands just like this. While eating, I briefly explained Shu Qingchu's request. After listening, Lin Shen stared blankly toward the ocean for a long time. Qing is a pitiful child. 3 years ago, my husband, a Niu, went to sea with Master Lu to build ships. They hit that typhoon, and not even a piece of rotting wood drifted back. Qing had to take on the entire shipyard at such a young age. Now, she just wants to find someone who can hold things together. With a frail person like Magistrate Shu, she probably won't think much of him. This won't be easy to settle. Quote, I gripped my chopsticks tight, then slowly let them go. Though Magistrate Shu looks delicate, he is the local magistrate who cares for the people. Don't worry, I'll handle this. After we finished eating, the sun was only half visible. Lin Shen carried a windproof lantern, walking side by side with me on the stone path. Watching the porters hurrying along the pier, he muttered softly, clear skies for 10,000 li. Tomorrow looks like good weather for setting sail. I nodded slightly, though I was calculating in my heart. If things didn't look right, I would have to set sail tomorrow. The sea breeze, mixed with the smell of tung oil, rushed toward us. It wasn't long before. We're here. I looked up. The Lu family shipyard was illuminated by countless lights, crouching on the shore like a giant monster.
No outsiders allowed inside while the ship is under urgent construction.
2 sturdy men with waist blades blocked our path. Lin Shen stepped forward and said with a smile, could you 2 brothers please report that the wife of Li Niu is here to see Master Lu? One of them recognized her, and his tone softened.
So it's Sister Niu. Come with me. Quote.
We followed him into the shipyard. A ship several stories high was surrounded by wooden scaffolding, with hundreds of workers busy at their tasks. A woman in red carrying a fish-shaped lantern stood out. She was standing by the hold, shouting a fierce scolding. The ship sets sail next month. With this sloppy, careless work of yours, if we hit a storm and the cabin leaks, everyone will be buried at sea. Quote, how many heads do you have to lose for this? My footsteps faltered, and I couldn't help but let a smile tug at my lips. She perfectly matched my criteria for a tigress. I could already imagine Shu Qingzhou cowering and shrinking his neck under her tongue lashing. But the next second, she turned her head, her gaze passing over Lin Shen and landing directly on me. The woman, Lu Qinglin, walked over. Lin Shen stepped forward to exchange pleasantries and explain our purpose. Lu Qinglin looked at me again. So you're the one who replaced Granny Lu. No wonder my red thread has been tied for 3 years with nothing to show for it. My smile stiffened instantly. In the 2 years I've taken over, I've secured more matches than Granny Lu did in her last 5. But I couldn't say that. Nor could I bring up the heartbreak of her 3-year mourning period. I had to force a smile and say, "My lady, you've wronged me. With your imposing aura, no ordinary man could ever be worthy. Lady Xinu must be waiting to pick the absolute best for you, which is why she sent me to inform you. Quote, just last night, she appeared in a dream, saying she had found you an exceptional scholar. She wants to invite you over to meet him." Lu Qingwen didn't reply. Instead, she rolled her eyes at the onlookers and scolded. "What are you gawking at? Get back to work. If I find anyone slacking, I'm docking half a month's pay." Quote, once the crowd dispersed, she gestured for me to enter. We stepped into the reception hall and closed the door. She sat in the main seat, lowered her head, and said, "When I made my wish, I did want a man of letters who could read and write. But now, I need a backer who can keep those old foxes in check. A mere scholar can't stir these waters." Quote, I replied, neither humble nor pushy. "I understand your concerns. The person the lady has found for you is exactly what you need to solve your urgent predicament. He is the magistrate of our Taikang County," she said, putting down her crossed legs and leaning forward. "That certainly sounds like a reliable helper, perfect for dealing with the Imperial Guards who are arriving soon." My hand, in my sleeve, clenched tight. The sting in my palm kept me alert. I desperately tried to appear indifferent, though I wasn't sure if the magistrate would be willing to marry into a family like mine. My mouth twitched. Why were their demands getting more bizarre by the minute? Are they really meant for each other? I forced a smile and said, "How about I arrange a time for you to ask Magistrate Shu yourself?" Lu Qingwen lowered her head, pondered for a moment, then nodded. "Fine. According to what I've heard, the Imperial Guards arrive at the start of next month. Get it arranged quickly." Quote, that left only 10 days. My heart sank. The Imperial Guards always investigate the docks and non-resident households first. If they reach Wanggu Village and the Jinyu Temple, my 3 years of peace are over. The 1-month deadline Xu Qingzhou gave me was already short enough. I didn't expect the Imperial Guards to arrive even sooner. 10 days. I have to pull off this marriage in 10 days to protect the temple and my livelihood, all while finding a way to slip through the guards' investigation. Maybe I should just set this match and bolt. In that case, there's no time like the present. I will go and invite the magistrate to the Jinyu Temple first thing tomorrow morning. You can just wait for him there. Quote, if there's anything to say, state it clearly. Lu stood up and cupped his hands. I'll leave it to you, my lord. If it's done, I'll surely bring a grand gift to burn incense and fulfill my vow. Quote, walking back to the temple by moonlight, I tossed and turned in bed all night. At the first light of dawn, I headed straight for the Taikang County office with dark circles under my eyes. Passing the bulletin board outside the Yamen gate, I suddenly stopped. 3 years later, the yellow wanted poster with my real name was still hanging there. Looking at that ugly face on the paper, I let out a secret sigh of relief. Back then, I refused to pay the painter and exposed his corruption. My father gave him a dressing down, so he drew me like a ghost. Who knew it would become my protective charm? Next to me was a long-faced, refined young man with a 10,000 gold bounty. The most brilliant student of my father, the late emperor's teacher. That ugly portrait helped me avoid being chosen as a concubine, but it also cost me my chance with him. Yet, in the end, I couldn't escape the fate of a broken home and fleeing alone. As I stared blankly at the portrait, a gentle voice rang out behind me.
Miss Ah Hong, you run quite fast.
Could it be that you've had a change of heart?
Planning to offer yourself to me?
I turned to look at him, forcing a smile. My lord, you're joking. This humble woman has come to report good news. I knelt before the goddess all night long. Finally, I've secured an excellent match for you, my lord. Xu Qingzhou looked down at my dark circles. You actually didn't sleep at all. Seeking a marriage connection requires sincerity to be effective. My lord's lifelong affairs. Since I took your silver, I naturally wouldn't dare neglect them. I quietly stepped back half a pace. Have you eaten breakfast yet? I was stunned, instinctively shaking my head.
Then I'll have to trouble Miss Ah Hong to lead the way. Take me, this official, to a food stall to experience the common life.
He turned sideways with a gesture of invitation. What about your marriage prospects? As we walked, talked, and ate, I led him to the Shuangfeng Noodle House, famous in town. Xu Qingzhou didn't order the mutton noodles. Instead, he got 2 large bowls of roast chicken noodles and pushed one toward me. Coincidentally, I was born in the year of the sheep and never touched mutton. I nodded to thank him and tucked in, finishing before him. Watching him eat slowly and elegantly, I began to speak. The match the weaver goddess found for you is Lu Qing, the head of the Lu family business. She's 18, her parents are gone, and she carries the family on her own. It just so happens she's looking for someone to support her. Quote, I rested my chin on my hand, waiting for his praise, but he only nodded and kept eating. Not until he had finished the soup and wiped his mouth clean with his hand did he finally mutter a word.
Has she been educated?
I searched my memory carefully. Lu Ching had indeed mentioned last night that she wanted to find someone cultured to teach her to read. So, she hasn't had a proper schooling, then? I was stumped. A glint of mischief flashed in Shu Qingchu's eyes as he tapped the table and spoke.
Miss Ah Hong, you haven't forgotten that I said yesterday I was looking for a cultured young lady, have you?
I cursed him silently, but kept a smile on my face. My lord, that is too rigid of a view. Miss Liu manages a massive shipyard, and she clearly understands complex ledgers and shipbuilding blueprints. Doesn't that count as having ability? Quote, besides, hearing about it is not as good as seeing for yourself. Miss Liu is waiting at the Weaver Temple right now. You can go see her, and it won't be too late to make a judgment then. Quote, Shu Qingzhou stared at me intensely for a moment, his eyes glinting. The corners of his mouth turned up slightly, as if he were amusedly annoyed by me. He stood up and placed 2 pieces of silver on the table. Miss Ah Hong, you really are persuasive. Then I shall accompany you to see for myself. He didn't return to the magistrate's office, but instead stayed in those plain clothes to walk with me from Shuangfeng town back to Huang village. The market was very lively, and walking and watching made the journey feel effortless. Just before reaching the Weaver Temple, I noticed he was carrying a warm bag of lard rice crackers, the exact kind I had stopped to look at several times earlier. As expected of a man of culture, he even knows how to handle a first meeting with a gift. We had just reached the temple gate when I saw Lu Qing approaching with 2 burly men. I stepped up to greet her and laughed. Miss Liu, it's enough that you've come yourself. Why bring bodyguards? We wouldn't want to frighten the magistrate later. There is no helping it. Too many people have been eyeing the Liu family lately. As a lone woman, I have to be extra careful. Quote, I remembered that I used to have an entourage wherever I went, so I nodded with a smile. I took out my keys and opened the temple gate. An old woman with a young married couple was already waiting there, holding bags of fruit. Seeing me, the old woman hurried over with a beaming face. Temple Master, may the Weaver Maiden bless us. My son just got married a few days ago, and we are here specifically to fulfill our vow. This was a couple I had introduced 2 months ago. I didn't expect them to be married so soon. I nodded with a smile. It is because their hearts are sincere. May the goddess bless them with a long, happy marriage. May you hold a chubby grandson in your arms soon. The old woman smiled even more sweetly and shoved a piece of silver into my hand. In front of everyone, I dropped it into the donation box, poured them some tea, and went to the backyard to change into my ritual robes. Grandma Lu helped set up the offerings and lit the incense. I struck the drum myself, and with a solemn expression, I followed the rhythm, chanted the ritual verses, read the prayer for peace, and burned the spirit money. Only then did the ceremony end. Watching the 3 of them leave satisfied, I let out a breath and turned to the 2 onlookers. Lu Qinglin looked at me with eyes full of trust and respect, while the puffed rice candy that Shu Qingzhou had been holding was now on the altar table. He was staring at the statue of the goddess, his lips moving as if praying for something. How could the man who yesterday threatened to seal the temple now be praying himself? When I returned after changing, Shu Qingzhou and Lu Qinglin were sitting by the square table, each holding a cup of tea, eyeing each other without a word. 2 bodyguards stood outside the door, making the atmosphere rather awkward. I cleared my throat and spoke first. Magistrate Shu, Miss Liu, feel free to chat. With the Weaver Maiden as our witness, neither of you will dare to lie. The 2 still didn't speak. I sighed, picked up the bag of rice candy, and handed it to Lu Qinglin. Magistrate Shu bought this specifically for you this morning. Have a taste. Quote, Shu Qingzhou raised his hand, but seeing I had already spoken, he slowly lowered it. Lu Qinglin opened it, took a bite, and frowned. It's too sweet for my taste. Magistrate Shu should keep it for himself. She said this and pushed it back, and Shu Qingzhou immediately passed it to me.
It's all yours now.
My eyes lit up. I pulled up a bench to sit between them, took a piece, put it in my mouth, and grinned from ear to ear. It is quite sweet, but I like it. Shu Qingzhou stared at my face, looking a bit dazed. Lu Qinglin gave a cold hum and spoke first. Magistrate Shu is a busy man, known for his swift and decisive actions. I will get straight to the point. The Lu family lacks no money. We only lack a man who can command respect and hold his own. If you are willing to marry into my family, from now on, whenever the county needs funding, the Lu family will provide full support. Magistrate Bao's performance is outstanding, Shu Qingzhou said expressionlessly, shifting his gaze away from my face.
Does Chief Lu consider herself more noble than Princess Chongning?
After the Prince of Yan ascended the throne, that domineering princess became the Princess Chongning. My heart ached suddenly as I recalled the Kixi festival 4 years ago. Lu Qinglin paused for a second, then replied calmly, Magistrate Shu, what is the meaning of this?
Last year, when I placed 3rd in the imperial examination, Princess Chongning wanted me as her consort, but I refused. No matter how grand your Lu family is, can it be grander than the imperial family?
So he's a top scholar. No wonder he has such a temper. That must be why he was sent to this remote place as a magistrate. Quote, Magistrate Shu, a dragon in shallow water is still a dragon, but don't underestimate the locals. With Chief Lu's help, you could make your mark and get transferred back sooner. With your position, even if she doesn't marry into your family, she can still help you ward off trouble. Why force the issue? Quote, if you 2 marry, it would be a union of equals. In the future, no one in Taikang County would dare bully you. Quote. Lu Qinglin pondered for a moment, looked up, and said, Magistrate, you're right. A matrilocal marriage would be unfair to you, so let me marry into your family instead. Quote. I just breathed a sigh of relief when Xu Qingzhou looked at me with a stern face and said coldly,
Don't forget, the lady I seek must be cultured.
Why is he back to the topic of culture? Seeing the smile freeze on Lu Qinglin's face, I grew anxious. How can you be so sure that Chief Lu is not cultured? Lu Qinglin shot me a grateful look. Just as she was about to speak, Xu Qingzhou cut her off.
That's easy to settle. If she can answer my question correctly, I'll consider her cultured. Quote,
What question?
Is the story of the cowherd and the weaver girl a comedy or a tragedy?
I was stunned. 4 years ago at the Kixi Festival, I had publicly refuted Princess Chongming's view that it was a comedy, arguing that lovers who cannot stay together and can only meet once a year are clearly trapped in a complete tragedy. For that, I was hailed as the most talented woman in the capital. I wasn't even 14 then. I looked at Xu Qingzhou in shock, while Lu Qinglin said casually, Such a beautiful love story is surely a comedy. Xu Qingzhou stared at me with intense, unwavering eyes. But some say that although they love each other, they can only gaze at one another from afar. Meeting only once a year is obviously a tragedy. These were my exact words back then. 4 years have passed, yet he remembers them so clearly. Could he really know who I am? But I am just a fugitive who shouldn't be alive. I lowered my head to avoid his scorching gaze and clenched my fists. Chief Lu is right. For the cowherd and the weaver girl, being able to meet once a year is already a tremendous blessing. Xu Qingzhou stood up abruptly, knocking over his teacup. Tea spilled across the table, but he was completely unaware, his voice trembling.
What did you say?
Say it again.
I was startled, nearly giving myself away, but I steadied my nerves and said calmly, If you don't understand, sir, just come with me to Wanggu village and you will see. I want to know too. I'll go with you both. With him there, I wouldn't have to face Xu Qingzhou alone, so I nodded and agreed. Do you know, sir? Why is the story of the cowherd and the weaver girl told in Wanggu village? Why here? And not somewhere else? Xu Qingzhou stroked his chin and shook his head, while I looked at the rows of dilapidated houses in the village. The people here live off the sea. The men must go out to sea to earn a living. They leave at dawn and return at dusk. Those who go further can only return once a year, relying on the stars and the weather to judge the seasons. Wives and children wait at home for their men to return. To them, the vast ocean is like the Milky Way in the sky, and that is precisely why the story of the cowherd and the weaver girl is passed down here.
So that's it. This is clearly a tragedy of long separation. How can it be called a comedy?
Lu Qinglin suddenly gazed out at the sea, his face full of sorrow, because the sea is too cruel. Many people never return after heading out to sea. Compared to those who perish in the water, being able to return home safely to reunite with family every year, even if it's just for one meeting, is a tremendous joy. His clenched fists and shaking arms made me realize he was speaking of his father, who perished 3 years ago. I was about to comfort him, but he suddenly smiled and looked at Xu Qingzhou. When they meet every year, the cowherd and the weaver girl must be so happy. Right? Quote, that story is a comedy. I nodded as well. That's right. For the women in the village, the cowherd and the weaver girl's guaranteed annual reunion was something they envied. After all, most who return safely make money and move away, leaving behind only the women who blow in the sea breeze, waiting for their loved ones. Xu Qingzhou's steps came to a sudden halt. He hurried to the nearest house to knock and ask, 1 house, 2 houses. He asked a dozen households before walking back dejectedly. His face no longer held the high spirits of yesterday, overlapping instead with the image of the destitute scholar from 5 years ago. Face covered in ash, beard unkempt, gaunt to the bone, as if he lacked even the courage to go on living. A scholar's ambition is heaven sent. Before leaving, I shoved a silver banknote into his hand. He took it hesitantly, his hands trembling violently. But when he looked up, his eyes shone with a new light. Clenching the banknote, he said, Your great kindness, miss. I will surely pass the imperial exam and become someone worthy of you. I just laughed it off back then, not taking it to heart. After all, I didn't even care for palace selection at the time. But now, seeing Xu Qingzhou's despondent look, I'm at a loss for words. Could these two seemingly different people really be the same? Glancing down at the red string on his wrist, I suddenly remembered that besides being a runaway, I am also the caretaker of the Weaver Girl Temple. I steadied my heart and seized the chance to explain the history of the temple. The villagers needed a spiritual anchor, so they chipped in to build this temple. When they feel unsettled, they come to offer incense and pray for the safety of their relatives at sea. It is because of the legend of the cowherd and the Weaver Girl and the Kixie Festival that we have the tradition of crossing the Magpie Bridge to ensure a safe voyage. Why do they say the temple is good for matchmaking? It's actually because the village aunties and uncles put effort into pairing up suitable men and women. Success depends on heaven, but execution depends on people. Even with divine blessings, one must still put in the effort. With more successful matches, the reputation spread. The incense money earned could then repay the original donors and support those busy matchmakers. Later, the childless elderly in the village were also supported by the incense funds. Xu Qingzhou remained silent for a long time, finally sighing softly.
So that's how it is.
Seeing him finally snap out of it, I grinned and said, "That said, regarding the question about the cowherd and the Weaver Girl, are you satisfied with Lu's answer? You once said that if you correctly, it would count as being educated. I wonder if that still holds true." Just then, a team of embroidered uniform guards appeared in the distance. I gasped, my hair standing on end, and my instinct was to run, but Xu Qingzhou stepped forward, gripped my arm, and whispered,
"Don't be afraid, I'll handle it."
Looking at his concerned gaze, I took a deep breath and calmed down. I watched the guards, half turned at the intersection toward the Lin family's home, while the rest headed our way. Xu Qingzhou quickly stepped up to meet them, presenting his official badge and bowing deeply.
Officers, have you come for the magistrate? I have just taken office and am currently here investigating the situation.
Seeing him humble himself like this to protect me made my heart ache. The lead Imperial Guard took the warrant, glanced at it, and then sized up Xu Qingzhou. "Xu Hua. Oh, it's Magistrate Xu now. I am not here for you. I am here for Master Lu." Lu Qinglin and I exchanged a look, both seeing panic in each other's eyes. She said the guards wouldn't come until next month. I never expected them today. Was there truly more to that shipwreck 3 years ago? Before I could process it, the lead guard strode up to Lu, hand on his saber, and said coldly,
Regarding the shipwreck 3 years ago, we still have questions. Please, Master Lu, come with us.
Lu's expression shifted drastically. The two men behind him immediately stepped forward, and the atmosphere turned tense. Xu rushed over to stand between them.
"It hardly seems appropriate for you to arrest the head of the largest shipyard in my county, right in front of me. At the very least, you must let me know what this is about."
The lead guard said calmly, "I don't mind telling you. This involves the whereabouts of the former Emperor Jianwen. It is a major case personally overseen by the Emperor. It is not something a lowly magistrate like you can interfere with. Emperor Jianwen." Those 3 words exploded in my mind like a thunderclap. My blood seemed to freeze instantly. The man on the wanted poster with me, the one with the 10,000 gold bounty, was Emperor Jianwen. 3 years ago, I fled here hoping to find a ship abroad, only to be blocked by a typhoon. Lu Qinglin's father and her husband happened to drown then. Why would an experienced shipyard owner set sail in a storm? The truth was likely that they were helping Emperor Jianwen escape. The guards might overlook me because of that ugly sketch, but they would never spare Jianwen. If the Lu family was implicated, Qinglin and hundreds of workers would die. Because of Jianwen, my father already sacrificed our entire family and 800 lives. Now, 3 years into a new dynasty, must even more people pay for his sake? Watching the lead guard draw his blade and hold it to a man's throat, I clenched my fists, made up my mind, took a deep breath, and shouted aloud. Xu Qingzhou immediately turned back, signaling me with his eyes not to act recklessly. Lu stared at me in shock as the lead guard raised his eyes and asked coldly,
And who are you, daring to obstruct me in the execution of my duty?
"I am the daughter of the gods, the daughter of the mortals' empress. I have descended to this realm in a human body to speak with you all. Since I am honored by the offerings of these people, I must ensure their safety. The person you are looking for left this place 3 years ago by the Dragon King's magic. If you wish to find him, head west across the ocean and stop disturbing the people here. Otherwise, I shall make sure you suffer for it." A sea breeze blew, making my wide sleeves flap loudly. Only one leader remained half skeptical, but his men glanced at each other, their grip on their swords loosening. Lu Qing reacted quickly. "Lu Qing, daughter of this land, pays respects to the goddess." I felt dazed and confused.
"What happened to her? She is shivering all over and breaking out in a cold sweat. Why is she crying?"
Could it be a side effect of the deity's possession? The elder reached out, touched my forehead, and checked my pulse.
"Don't jump to conclusions. It's just night terrors. She was like this often in her first year here.
It only got better in the last 2 years as she stayed busy. She has relapsed today and has a slight fever. It's likely from the sea breeze yesterday. Such a pitiful girl. She has lived here for 3 years, and I've never seen her family come for her. As Grandma Lu's sigh faded, I heard Shu let out a long sigh. She lost all her family 3 years ago. So, he really does know who I am. How could this be? At least I still have Uncle Shu to look after me. She lost all her kin 3 years ago. I am not just pretending to be miserable. Shu Qingzhou held me even tighter. I will take her back to the county seat now and have a doctor examine her. Wait, Lu Qinglin said hurriedly. Wait. I'll have someone bring the carriage over. I'll take you both to a place. There should be someone there who can cure her heart's ailment. In the carriage, I lay in Shu Qingzhou's arms, my consciousness slowly returning as I listened to Lu Qing chatting with him. So, Lord Shu, you and Miss Ah Hong have known each other for a long time? I know her. But she may not remember me.
Back then, she shone so brightly while I was far too lowly. I didn't even have the right for her to know my name.
Lu let out a dry laugh. I just felt that the way you looked at her wasn't right. So it was a secret crush? Why not just tell her instead of teasing her? Quote. A rare flash of embarrassment crossed his face. I was afraid that if I said it, I would scare her away.
Yesterday, when I helped her up, she went completely rigid.
Like a frightened little bird. The carriage fell silent, with only the sound of wheels on the cobblestones. After a while, I thought I was miserable enough. I didn't expect him to be even worse off than me. If I were in his shoes, I don't think I'd have the courage to go on living.
I spent all my wealth back then, only to end up like this. He was the one who encouraged me to keep moving forward. So am I really even lesser than him?
Yes, in the 800 miles of the Dihe River, I might just be a lowly ant clinging to life, but even an ant can nourish the earth. The Xinu Temple cannot do without me, and the elders in Wanggu village cannot do without me. As long as someone needs me, I must live well. I struggled to open my eyes, and I succeeded.
Ah Hong, you're finally awake.
I moved my lips and asked in a hoarse voice. Does everyone know? Lu Qinglin nodded slightly. Shu Qingzhou supported the back of my head with one hand, took a water skin with the other, and laughed in a low voice.
Can you drink it yourself? If not, I'll feed you.
I quickly took the water skin and rolled my eyes at him. I just had a nightmare. I'm not dying.
But you still have a fever.
I touched my forehead. It was indeed a bit hot. It's fine. I looked at Lu Qinglin. Where are we going now? Lu Qinglin's expression turned serious. She said, word by word, you are a descendant of the Fang family. Magistrate Shu knows your origins but has been keeping it a secret for you. I trust him too. Now I will tell you the truth about why the Lu family is always being pursued by the Jinyue. I immediately sat up from Shu's lap, and Shu also nodded.
Miss Lu, just say it. I, Shu Qingzhou, will never betray your trust.
Lu Qinglin let out a long sigh and said in a hushed tone. Before my father set sail, he told me that no matter whether he survived the storm or not, he would never return. He insisted that I not search for him, telling me he was already dead. Shu Qingzhou and I exchanged a glance, seeing the shock in each other's eyes. As expected, the old master of the Lu family had set sail knowing there would be a storm. I felt something was wrong, so I followed him quietly. I saw him enter a temple, but I didn't dare follow him in, so I waited outside. When he came out, he was accompanied by a man covered in a black cloak, and another man of similar build stood before the temple gate, weeping as he saw them off. These words struck my ears like a thunderbolt. So, it wasn't Emperor Jianwen himself who went to sea back then. The carriage stopped in front of the Tongshui temple gate. I walked up alone, trembling, and handed the monk at the entrance my household registration card, which I hadn't used in 3 years. Engraved in the center were the characters, Feng Shu, and my father's name, Feng Xiaoru, was clearly imprinted. In a side room in the back courtyard, I finally saw that kind-faced, long-faced monk. Tears streaming down my face, I knelt on the ground and kowtowed heavily. Father, I did not betray you. By some twist of fate, I protected the emperor. Can you be at peace now?
Benefactor, the monk is already gone. He is not worth your longing. You are still young. Forget the hatred and live for yourself.
I wiped away my tears and kowtowed once more to Feng Zhongshu. Your Majesty, take care. I bid you farewell. Quote, stepping out of the Tongjiao temple, I was no longer Fang Xiaoru's daughter, but Ah Hong of the Ji temple. Walking over the high threshold, the sea breeze blowing in felt a little sweeter, hinting at a new light. After 3 years, I finally dared to stand tall and truly look at the clear sky of Taikang. The carriage carried us toward the magistrate's office again, and the atmosphere inside the carriage lightened. Seeing my expression improve, Lu Qinglin smiled and said, since you and I are so fated, both without parents or siblings, why don't we become sworn sisters? I was slightly stunned, then smiled. Yes. When Magistrate Shu made his wish, he didn't say that wasn't allowed. From now on, you'll be called Lu Ah Hong. I'll have Magistrate Shu help you register your residency with the Lu family, as my, Lu Qinglin's, younger sister. Quote, I'll look after you from now on. Xu Qingzhou nodded with a smile.
That would be wonderful.
Deal. Lu Qinglin held out her palm, pointing at me and then Xu Qingzhou. It's a promise. In the future, whether you can marry my sister will depend on getting past me. I couldn't help but laugh out loud. Watching him, Xu Qingzhou shook his head and smiled bitterly.
So you're saying, whether my marriage prospects work out depends on my future performance?
I hummed lightly and assumed the posture of a temple attendant. Of course. The Ji temple has always believed in mutual consent when it comes to matchmaking. There is absolutely no force involved. Xu Qingzhou suddenly took a red string from his robe and tied it onto my left wrist with both hands. Where did you get that?
I begged the nun for it. After all, I did offer a gold ingot as a betrothal gift. She has already agreed. Your betrothal gift was that gold ingot you slipped into the donation box? Indeed. The 100 taels of silver you gave me back then. Converted, that is this 10-tael gold ingot.
I pulled my hand back and asked again. Then where would a poor scholar get a gold ingot?
Of course, it was a reward from the emperor after I placed high in the palace examination. A top scholar gets 1,000 taels of gold, and I got 500. I still have over 40 of these gold ingots at home.
If you marry me, they will all be yours. HMPH. I showed hesitation. That won't do. Sister Ah Hong. Don't be bought off by one gold ingot. I'll take you to the storehouse later to open your eyes to our Lu family's wealth. Looking at Xu Qingchu's curled lips, overshadowed by Lu Qinglin's domineering spirit, I laughed out loud. Lu Qinglin then changed the subject. However, it's not impossible for Magistrate Xu to become my brother-in-law. Wait until next month, when Zheng's fleet is successfully sent out to sea, and I will seriously consider your marriage. Xu Qingzhou let out a sigh.
It's a deal.
On the day the Zhenghe fleet set sail, the sky was clear for miles. Massive ships stretched across the horizon. In my identity as Lua Hong, the temple mistress, I stood on the high platform by the shore with other monks and nuns, praying for the safety of the crew and soldiers. That instance of the goddess manifesting her spirit pleased the Yongle emperor deeply. He accepted the honorary title I bestowed and acknowledged my identity as Lua Hong, naturally believing everything I said. The Lu family, now victims of the Jianlin fugitive case, were not only spared from further investigation but were comforted by the authorities and received increased shipbuilding orders. After the fleet departed, Xu Qingchu's governance went smoothly with the Lu family's help. He established welfare for the elderly and widowed, and brought in master artisans to teach village crafts, becoming a widely praised official. Whenever the local women saw me, they would surround me to praise him, hinting between the lines that we should marry. The temple, which once privately operated under the guise of the goddess, was now legitimized by the authorities, and I no longer needed to perform tricks. On the night I wed Xu Qingzhou and entered the bridal chamber, I slept soundly. In my dream, I saw my father again. His eyes were tearful, and he brought the 8 wronged souls to wish me happiness. Then, I dreamt of the goddess herself. As long as you meet your true love, differences in status are never an insurmountable chasm. I hope that all lovers in the world can be together.